Hi everyone, I'm Brendnetta Ashley, better known as Edgy Bee Girl, and I am so excited to be here with you all today. I'm a part of the Schwarzkopf Artistic Digital team, and I'm going to be sharing with you some of my favorite tips and tricks when it comes to styling curly hair. And not just curls, we're going to go through a couple of different things. We're going to go from waves to curls to coils. So I'm going to make sure that I give us a ton of information. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. When it comes to styling hair, I think styling is such a component when it comes to a color and to a cut. So many times we don't necessarily like to style hair or we're a little unsure of it. So I like to really put a lot of emphasis on my styling because I feel like the styling is a complement to the color and the cut. When it comes into styling, I think it's so important that we have a consultation just like we would have a consultation when it comes into doing a color or a cut. So a couple of things that I like to ask my clients when they come into the salon are, what are you looking to achieve today? And I know that can be a very broad question, so I want to narrow that down a little bit more. And I want to get more into the meat of it all, and I want to know what exactly are you looking for? Are you looking for more volume in your hair? Are you looking for curl definition? Are you looking to control frizz? Are you looking for more shine? The more in depth you can get with them, the easier it's going to be for them to open up to tell you what they're looking for in their hair. Second thing I like to ask them is, what is your curl routine? I want to know, what are they using in their hair, how frequently they're styling their hair, if they're even styling their hair at all. The more you know, the better it is that you're going to be able to offer them something that they're going to be able to achieve at home. So we always have to think about when our clients come into the salon with us, they're only with us for a limited amount of time. But when they go home, are they going to be able to recreate these looks and styles that we give them? Another thing that I like to ask them is, when I talk about like products, are you using a cream? Are you using a gel? Are you using a mousse? Are you using a foam? The more I know and understand about what products they're using and how they're applying those products, I can help to guide them in maybe some different things that I could suggest to them, or how they maybe could stop using so many products and narrow it down to maybe one or two. So those are some things that we're going to be talking about more in depth, and then we're going to go into the actual styling techniques. So I'm going to talk to you guys about a wash and go. We're then going to go into a two-strand twist. We're going to talk about cloud curls, and then one of my absolute favorites, which is going to be a flexi rod set. And then of course, after the hair is fully dry, we have to talk about how you're going to actually implement those looks. So is this going to leave them leaving the salon with their hair looking like it looks on day one, or do they want to have it to look like how it would maybe look on day 3 or 5? The more you know and understand about what your client is looking for when it comes into styling, the easier it's going to be to create the perfect style for them. As we are going through all of this, I know we have the chat open, so if you have any questions or you want me to show something else, please do not hesitate to drop it off in the chat and I can get those questions answered for you today. Now that we have kind of talked about what questions we want to ask them into the consultation, this is also a time for us to understand maybe what type of curl pattern are we working with? Are we working with a wave? Are we working with a curl? Are we working with a coil? The more we know and understand what type of hair we're working with, that's going to help us to determine, 1, what products we should be using, 2, how much of that product, and 3, what should the sectioning look like to be able to give us a definition of what we want. So let's start off with the very first one. We have wavy hair. When hair is wavy, when it grows out of the scalp, it's going to come out straight and then it's going to start to make an S shape. Keep in mind with this S shape, a lot of times what is lacking is volume. So someone who has wavy hair typically is going to want more volume into their hair. Other thing that you have to think about is their natural oils are going to flow a little bit faster through that hair shaft. So they maybe not want something that's going to make their hair too heavy and weigh it down. Next, we have a curl. So as a curl grows out of the scalp, it's going to grow out slightly straight and then it's going to start to make a circular motion. Depending on how tight that curl pattern is, it can be tighter at the scalp coming through that mid shaft and in. So that's where we start to get into like your curl type A, your curl type B, your curl type C. So 3A, B, or C. That's going to be the tightness of that curl pattern. Keep in mind, this client a lot of times will start to have volume into their hair, but notice that their hair can be a little bit on the drier side because it's taking a little bit longer for those natural oils to flow through that whole entire shaft. And then lastly, we have our coils. Our coils are going to be a zigzag pattern. So as it grows out of the scalp, it's going to make this zigzag pattern. Sometimes I like to think of it like an accordion. So it's going to have shrinkage and then it will expand. I will tell you, as someone who has coily hair, shrinkage is going to be a huge important factor that I want to make sure when I'm wearing my hair out that I don't lose my length, and I want to make sure that I maintain that. So that's just something that you're going to also want to be extremely mindful of when it comes to a coil. With that being in mind, you have to think about now, their hair typically may be a little bit more on the drier side just because it's taking it that much longer for those natural oils to produce through those hair shafts. So because of that, everything that I'm gonna be doing into the hair is gonna be adding in hydration. Once I have determined what curl type they are, my next thing is to determine exactly what they're looking for. So if she's looking for volume, I wanna make sure however I'm styling her hair that I'm making sure that we create volume into the front. Other thing that I also want to determine is how does she like to wear her hair? Does she want it all forward? Does she want some of it back? Does she sometimes like to wear it half up, half down? Because that's going to help me to determine how I want to set her curl pattern. The next thing from there I need to determine is she looking for a tight definition, hold, a strong hold, or is she looking for something very light and airy? Once I know and understand that, that's also going to help me to determine what is the best product to use and how much of that product I should be using. Last thing that I want to be looking at now at this point is how is she going to maintain her hair at home? So a big thing that we have in the salon is we see a lot of images on social media and they're like, oh my gosh, her hair is so beautiful. I love it. And I always like to think of that as like, that is what hair looks like on maybe day 3 to day 5. Day 1, when you leave out of the salon, your hair is typically going to be more set and controlled. So if my client is telling me that I want my hair to look big and voluminous on day 1, I always want to remind her, if we do this today, you 9 times out of 10 are gonna need to reset your hair in maybe 2 to 3 days. The more they know and understand at the very beginning, the easier it's going to be for you. Once you have gone through this portion of your consultation, now you can actually get into the service and how you prep the hair. So many times we think prepping the hair is at our chair, but actually prepping the hair is gonna be at the shampoo bowl. So how do you properly cleanse the hair? I always like to start off with cleansing the hair with a detox shampoo or clarifying shampoo. That clarifying shampoo is going to remove any of the excess oils and minerals and dirts off of the hair without stripping it of its natural oils. I'm then going to come back in and I'm going to shampoo the hair based off of what the needs are. So as I mentioned, if someone is needing more volume in their hair, I'm going to use a volumizing shampoo. Or then if they're going to be using, needing more hydration into their hair, I'm going to be using a hydration shampoo and conditioner. One of my absolute favorite hydration shampoos and conditioner is going to be the Fiber Clinics by Schwarzkopf or Hydrate. It adds the perfect amount of hydration into the hair without weighing it down. And I think that's so important because you're going to be layering in your products. You don't want to use anything that's going to be extremely heavy onto the hair to weigh it down in the very beginning. Once they have been shampooed and conditioned, now we can get into the styling. So here we are, and you guys see I have a couple of different friends with me that we are going to be going through all of these different looks, and I'm going to talk about how you set them and how you break them apart at the very end. But here we have her hair. This is what I would like to consider a wave into a curl. The question comes up sometimes is, can someone have multiple different curl patterns in their hair? And I wouldn't say that you have multiple different curl patterns in your hair. I'm gonna say you have an overall curl pattern and you may have areas where it may be more tight or more defined. When I look at her hair, she is more of a wave to me. She has a little bit of definition. This is her hair completely washed and conditioned. I noticed that she has a little bit of volume, not a lot of volume, but she definitely has some frizz. So these are some things that I'm gonna wanna control. So the first style that we're gonna go over is going to be our wash and go set. So I'm gonna break these down in a couple of different areas so you guys can see how I would do it. So let's go ahead and clip away the sides. And I'm gonna be working in the back here. So the first thing that I need to make sure is that the hair is wet. When hair is wet, it's gonna absorb the products much more easier and it's gonna give you the slippage. You're gonna hear me say this a couple of different times, is that I need to have the hair juicy. Curls that are juicy are gonna have good definition, good hold, good control, and they're gonna have longevity to that style. Another thing that you can also think about is whenever you are styling hair, do not feel like you have to have, especially when it comes into curly hair, because I know that this is gonna dry and set. I don't wanna have strong parts into the hair. So sometimes I'm gonna be very organic with my parting. I just wanna make sure that I'm still working in a controlled section, but it's not gonna be the cleanest of parts unless that's something that I'm looking for within that style. So the first thing that I need to do is I need to add some more water back into this section here. And I like the hair wet. The wetter the hair is, the better. Even though she's a wave, I still want to make sure that I give her some moisture into her hair. So because of that, I'm going to start off with our Fiber Clinics, our Hydrate, our leave-in spray. A common mistake that we have when it comes to products is we immediately want to spray at the top, but we also have to think about what we started off with saying. As the hair grows out of the scalp, the mids and the ends of the hair is going to be the driest. So that's where I'm going to need most of that hydration and moisture. So instead of me applying directly at the base area, I'm going to start by applying through the mids and ends. Every section that I work through, I'm going to always take my product and work it through the hair.